You're listening to season 1, episode 2 of MegAnne's Not a Parent But. And today we are going to be talking through how you know it's time to intervene. Hope you enjoy. Hey friends, welcome to MegAnne's Not a Parent But, the podcast hosted by me, MegAnne. And I'm a parenting coach with almost 20 years experience helping parents raise their children, especially the strong-willed ones. I have been described as the perfect blend of Mary Poppins meets Nanny 911, and I love to help parents drink hot coffee, stop yelling, and learn how to truly enjoy raising their strong-willed children. My goal is by sharing my views, my beliefs, and my tips that I can help empower you to parent more confidently in removing fear-based punishments and learning how to lean into the kind and firm approach of parenting with kindness. So glad to have you here. If you love what you hear, make sure to let me know by taking a screenshot and sharing on Instagram. My handle is Be Kind Coaching, and I love a tag. I like to say that it's my love language, and I want to connect to you. I want to know, what parts did you like? What parts resonate with you? What parts do you feel like everybody needs to hear? I want to know that. So let me know. So make sure to hit subscribe so that you never miss an episode. All right. Without further delay, let's get into today's episode. All right, friends. When is it time to intervene? When you see your child doing something and you're like, oh my gosh, I just have to stop them from doing that. I have to jump in and fix and rescue and keep them safe. How do you know when it's time to do that, or when it's time to just kind of resist that urge and let them make the mistake? Ugh, I know this is a hard question to answer. And this is a question that I get asked a lot. And I mean, it can be applied in so many areas. It could be applied to taking responsibility on chores. It could be, going to bed, picking up your toys, eating dinner. Like, where is the line on allowing a child to make their own decision and kind of jumping in and fixing and rescuing? Ooh, so when we talk about things like risk taking and mistake making and learning the lessons from those mistakes, so you know that I'm all about removing punishments from the question, from the conversation. And how do that you're striking the right balance while your children are taking risks, while they're making mistakes, while they're learning those lessons? How do you know when to step in and intervene and when to just kind of step back and just hold space? It's a really difficult, conundrum. So today we're going to share with you 3 questions that you can ask yourself to help you guide you on how to know. And I shared these questions recently with my friend Emily, who has 4 kids, and she called me one day and she said that her son, her second son, was he's in 3rd grade, and he came home and he had like a bad grade. It was a bad grade in spelling, and she knew that he knew the words. She knew that he was capable of it, but he just wasn't doing his homework. And when, we kind of digged in more, what was happening was he was playing video games, which I'm sure that many of you can connect to, right? And he was playing video games. He would rush through his homework, get to the video games, and then was bombing the test. And really, she was saying, if he was struggling, if I knew that this was a challenge for him, I could help him and hold on. I could help him through it. But I just know he's being lazy. So how do I know when to jump in and intervene and when to not? And I said, girlfriend, this is a time that you got to let him fail. And you got to let him, step back and kind of release that mama bear mode, which is so challenging. I know it can feel so uncomfortable in that moment, because your instinct and kind of what society tells you is that, you're supposed to prevent your child from ever feeling sad. Well, I think that is a conversation for another day, but I think that's a conversation that we need to challenge and think about: who is the child we're raising? Who do we want them to be in 25 years? And then start playing from that area today. So what we initially came up with is that I asked her these 3 questions, and we kind of came up with a game plan. So you're probably wondering, what are those questions? Okay, so the first question is, are they in danger? Was her son in danger? And I'm saying danger as in creating permanent damage. Like, is he going to get maimed? Is he going to get killed? Is he going to feel so socially humiliated that like it spirals him, to no return? And the answer in this case was no. He could bomb a test, he could make a mistake, and he could learn from that mistake. It wasn't going to cause him any grave danger. So then we move on to the second question, which is this a missing skill or a missing need? And the missing skill was, paying attention, being mindful of the work that you do, being proud of the work that you do, being conscious of your time through school. That's a missing skill. Paying attention, study skills. And that's kind of what we associated here was, that skill of slowing down, of executive functioning, of being able to process through like, okay, if I rush here to do this, then I'm going to be kind of setting myself back here. And then the third question is, when would you like that need to be filled or the skill to be learned? And for most, it's immediately. If it's a missing need, you want to fill that need immediately. And if it's a missing skill, you want to set him up to learn that skill as soon as possible. So in the case of my friend with her son, what ended up happening, what we came up with was that they were going to have a meeting with just him, not in front of the other children, not in front of everyone, just mom, dad, and him. And the parents were going to present the problem. Hey, bud, something that we see is that you're playing a lot of video games and you're rushing through your homework, and we get it. You want to get to video games like we all do. But what we see happening is that your grades are kind of suffering. And if it's, a true need, we can get you a tutor, but we want to come up with a solution with you. We want to include you on this. And so what are your thoughts? And then they opened the floor. And actually, he was so attuned that he said, yeah, I guess maybe I need to be, doing my homework more mindfully. I don't think he said mindfully, but he got it that, okay, I need to slow down and take time with my homework. And if I can't pull my grade up, then maybe I need to give up the video games. And she told me this, and I was like, no, he didn't. And she said, yes, he came up with this agreement that if he didn't follow through on it, that he was going to get his video games taken away. And I thought that was so powerful. I mean, it signals so much to me, but it was powerful. He was taking accountability. He was like, yeah, look, I'm messing up. I'm not doing it. And okay, fair enough. And when I checked back in with her, when the grades came back, she was like, oh my gosh, he raised his grade. He stuck to it. He didn't, let his grades slip. He learned from it. And she thanked me, and we cheered and celebrated. And I thought that was such a powerful story, because what it took for my friend was brain break moment. I know I can go way deep and I can get there quickly. So let's take a little pause, a little moment to take a deep breath in and out. And take a moment to let you know that this episode is sponsored by me, MegAnne, and it is brought to you by my amazing parenting program vault. You can find it at my website at bekindcoaching.com. And the parenting vault is chock full of all of my programs and resources to help you gain the confidence, the connection, and the community that you're looking for in helping you raise your kind family. Make sure to go and check it out. And inside you can find my free parenting style quiz called How Kind Is Your Family? So it's 7 easy questions. You can go and take it and find out, are you the too kind parent, the too firm parent, or the kind and firm parent? Just make sure to download the guide so that you can get all of the assets and the liabilities delivered right to your inbox. All right, without further ado, let's take one more deep breath and get back to it. In, out. Let's go. Getting a little bit uncomfortable, instead of, swooping in and rescuing him or blaming the teacher or coming up with some excuse for her son. She said, look, he's not meeting expectations. And it's not because he can't, that he's not capable, or that there's some other support needed. It's because of a choice he's making. And I don't know how to hold him accountable for his choice. And she didn't want to punish him. She didn't want to, make it a thing. So I loved that she was open to it. And it took some stretching, and creating that space of safety and trust to say, look, here's the problem and we need to find a solution. And having her son buy into that solution because it was of his own idea and creation. He didn't want to mess it up either. And so it's so powerful to know when is the time to intervene? When is the time to kind of step back and just allow them to take the L in hopes that they learn the lesson, practice the muscles that need to be practiced, and grow stronger from it. Instead of always nagging or checking or correcting or picking up the slack, let's, check out the trajectory that sets up. In 10, 15 years, with that escalated and your child is learning to rely on you to keep them safe from ever making a mistake, or making sure that their grades or their paperwork's turned in, or, all the boxes are checked and the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. What happens when they're, say, at college and there's no one to do that for them? Or when they're going to fill up a job application or a really important document and they don't have you there? Is that setting them up for success in the long term? Or, if this lesson is learned when they're 8 years old, is that something that can be worked through together using the 3 R's of recovery from episode 1? Is that something that can be worked through together so that they learn the lesson at 8, so that then when they're in college and when they're filling out those job applications or important paperwork, that they know that it's on them and they know that they can do it? That sense of capability, that can never be replaced. Like, I would never trade that, knowing that I can do it and having that confidence that I can do this. I can make a mistake. I can take a risk. I can, do the thing and put in the hard work ethic. That's priceless. And I think it takes finding that balance between being firm and kind. We can swing in too kind and be so nurturing and want to fix and rescue everything because we don't want our children to feel any pain at all, and almost take on that burden as the caretaker. It's my job to make, their childhood as easy as possible with as least resistance. And it comes from such a good place. But in the long term, is that setting them up for the most success long term? Is their life going to always be without challenge or resistance or pushback? And if not, how are you equipping them to work through that? And on the other side of being too firm and too cold and too militaristic, I think this stems from the same sense of wanting to protect and wanting to keep children safe. They think that, it's a tough world out there. I'm toughening them up to face the world. And when that happens, what is the result of that to the relationship? If we take that out 10 years, how does that, when the compound effect is added, like, what does that mean for them? How will they feel when they make a mistake and needing help? Will they reach out to you, or will they just kind of put it on themselves that they're just going to figure it out? I think that that's an important conversation that we're going to look into more in episode 4, looking at the difference between being too kind and too firm and finding that balance. But I think a really good first step is identifying when should you intervene and when should you just kind of like let them eat the mayonnaise sub, which, if you don't know, if you've been following me for a while, you probably know the story. And if you don't know it, then you're going to learn all about it in episode 3, where we talk about what a safe failure is. And I feel like these episodes are starting to kind of come together so nicely. Episode 1 was about apologizing and recovery. This episode's all about accountability and kind of letting children become accountable for the choices and the decisions they make. And the next episode is talking about safe failures and what our role is in that. And I share a really funny story about my niece eating a mayonnaise sub. So that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know, how did these questions sit for you? If you start to ask them, let me know through a DM on Instagram at Be Kind Coaching. I always say I want to help cheer and support you on. So share with me how you're starting to implement what you're learning, or if you have any thoughts on it. All right, see you next time. Bye, friends. All right, friends, you have been listening to MegAnne's Not a Parent, but the podcast for parents raising the strong-willed. I am so thankful that you have taken a little bit of time out of your busy day to settle in and have a chit chat with me. It's literally my favorite thing to talk about. I can talk about it all the time. So that's why I started this podcast. So thank you so much. If you found value in this podcast, please, please, please do me a favor and take a screenshot and share it with me. You can share it on Instagram. You can share it on Facebook. Just make sure to tag me so that I can see it. Like I said, my love language in episode 1, my love language is gifts of quality time, and a tag on social media or a review of this podcast or any sort of interaction and engagement, man, you're filling my love bucket. So thank you so much. I can't wait to chat and connect to you, and see you next time. Bye, friends.